Sports fans, we are live. Welcome to the Sports Behavior Podcast. I'm your host, OG the Beast. I got a special guest with me tonight, Jeremiah, a.k.a. Smart Takes. What's popping, my boy? How you doing, man? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good, OG. What's going on, man? I'm happy to be here.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to have you, man. Look, hey, if y'all want this dude right here, man, I peeped him, a little while back, man, on TikTok. This dude be doing his thing, man. I'm feeling good, Diesel. How you feeling, my boy? But this dude be doing his thing, man. He got some nice takes. He know what he talking about. He know his sports. He had a problem with one of the top tens. Something about my top 10. We haven't discussed it outside of the show. We definitely gonna get into it today. But before we do, shout out to everybody that's in the stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys that joined and take the time out of your day to come say what's up to your boy OG, man. Team Big Ant, I appreciate the gifted sub, man. The tier 1 gifted sub. I appreciate you for stopping in. Drizzy Driz, what's popping, man? How y'all feeling, man? How y'all doing today, man? But everybody been on my ass about making a Discord, right? Everybody been saying, OG, we want to holler at you on some other shit. Make a Discord. So I've decided to not make a Discord, but I made something similar, right? I'm doing a jersey giveaway. Not only jersey, but I'm also doing a 2K23 giveaway. If y'all want to be involved in this giveaway, the only way to get in or be involved in it is to join my chalkboard. Look, I partner with Chalkboard, and it's similar to Discord. It's a way for you to basically stay in contact with me. Basically, what it is it's basically a sports chat, like a sports group. We talk about debates. We talk about football on there. We talking about basketball on there, of course. Fantasy, if you into that, every Sunday I'm going to be posting who I think is going to win or lose each matchup. Y'all can do what y'all want to do with those picks. If you got over-under questions or any gambling questions, if you into that, if you a gambling man, if you into that type of thing, I'll answer those questions too. But to enter the giveaway, you have to be in that group. I can't stress that more because those are my elite of the elites, man, my big fans and people who really believe and support OG the Beast. You will be in this sports behavior sports group. But like I say, I'm giving away 3 jerseys once we hit 500 members in this group. Only way to enter the giveaway is to be in that group. Like I say, betting advice, fantasy football advice. I will be giving my picks every Sunday. I will be chopping it up with you guys about trade talks, everything. Any information that's coming from me, y'all will be receiving it first. Wins and losses every single Sunday. Like I say, fantasy advice, everything. Look, just click the link, join it, and let's have a good time, man. That's all I'm asking you. I don't ask y'all for much. All I'm asking y'all to do is just, join my page, join my sports group, and become a part of the sports behavior community, man. That's basically what it sums up to be. It's very similar to Discord. It don't take much of your time. Click the link. Actually, the link is in the chat. It should be in the chat. If you scroll up to the top, I place it at the top. And if you not here on Twitch, if you on YouTube, it'll be in the description. And if you on TikTok, it'll also be in my bio, in my link tree. Same thing for Instagram. Just click the link in my bio and it'll be right there accessible to all of you guys to join. It's free to join. You don't have to pay anything. So all I'm asking you for is just basically, man, come chop it up with your boy, and you already know what it is. Yes, it's an app, KB. You download the app. It's called Chalkboard. Download the app, and you click in my description on TikTok, Instagram. It's in my description on Twitch as well. Just click it, download the app, and join right in. It's a couple of you guys that's in here that's already a part of it. So I expect to see every single one of you jokers in there. Every single one of y'all, I expect to see y'all in there, man. So, yeah, but let's get this show on the road, man. I appreciate all the support you guys give to me. I can't stress that enough. Shout out to the loyals over there on YouTube as well who enjoy watching every single other day or every 2-3 days I post or whatever it is. Y'all always ready and y'all always tuning in. I appreciate it, KB. Sorry I wasn't able to be in the stream recently. It's okay. Hey, Saucy, you here, man. You here. Hey, click that link. Join my chalkboard. Let's have a good time, man. Let's talk some sports. Let's talk some music. Let's talk some life, fantasy, football advice. I know that's why you joining, KB. You wanna get the underground because we in a league together. So you wanna get the download. I know why I already know. But anyway, let's get it. Let's dip and dive into this show, man. Today we're gonna do some rankings. It's pretty much gonna be a ranking show. We ain't going to do too much, nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary. We just going to be ranking. So me and Smart Takes are going to discuss not only our top 10 all times, because that's why we here. He had an issue with something in my top 10. I don't know what it is. We going to find out. That's what's going to keep it spicy. But we going to discuss top 5 in each position, NBA history, not just today, right? So top 5 in each position. I want your top 5 point guards of all time, starting with number 5. Let's get it.
At number 5, I got CP3. At number 4, I got Oscar Robertson. At number 3, I got Isaiah Thomas. At number 2, I got Steph Curry. And number 1, I got Magic Johnson.
Okay, mine is pretty much similar to that. At 5, I got CP3. At 4, I got John Stockton. At 3, I got Zeke. At 2, I got Steph Curry. And at 1, I got Magic Johnson. Now, before we dive any further into why we got those people, where we got them, let these cats know where they can find you at, man. Tell them a little something about yourself.
Yes, sir. So my name is Jeremiah, but I do Smart Takes. So I got a podcast. I got my TikTok. I got my Twitter. I got my YouTube. It's all Smart Takes. So on Twitter, at Smart B-Ball Takes. On TikTok, at Smart B-Ball Takes. It's the Smart Takes podcast. And on YouTube, it's Smart Takes as well. So Smart Takes, you can find me pretty much anywhere, man.
So Smart Takes it is. So is your podcast jumping off already, or are you in motion to jump it off?
Hey, we in motion. I actually just dropped my first episode earlier this week. So I'm dropping episode 2 tonight. So you guys gonna want to tune into that. I'm dropping my top 30 greatest players in NBA history one at a time, from 30 to 1. Tonight, video number 29. So tune into that. It's worth it. It's gonna be worth it for y'all, man.
Definitely, man. Make sure y'all tune into that, man. Smart Basketball Takes. He's dropping his knowledge. But I think the only differences we had in the point guard list was, I think you had Stock at 3, right?
No, I actually had. I think you didn't have Oscar.
Oh, you had Oscar.
Stockton. Yeah, I had Oscar instead of Stock. Stock is outside of my top 5.
Wow, that's a discussion that we need to have. Okay, so you got Big O at. So say your top 5 again.
Okay, so 5 CP3, 4 I got the Big O, 3 Isaiah, 2 Steph, 1 Magic.
I got nothing to say about the rest of your list. I don't even have a problem with you having Big O in there, but I'm interested to know why Oscar Robertson over John Stockton. That's spicy to me. I'm interested.
I just think Oscar Robertson is probably either the second or third best player just in the 70s decade. I think what he was able to do with those Milwaukee teams is super underrated. I think he was the first heliocentric superstar where he was basically everything the Bucks did was running through him, whether it was ISOs, pin downs. He was kind of controlling the pace of the game. I think he was the first legit on-ball true superstar. Certainly behind Kareem, to me, the second best player of his decade. And I think his accolades can overstate his ability at times, especially when we talk about him being the all-time assist leader, for example. I don't know anybody who thinks he's the best passer ever, although he's leading that category by, whatever it is, 5,000 assists, 4,000 assists.
Large margin. And that's why I say, so not to cut you off, but to cut you off, to say that nobody says he's the best passer, you're making it seem like he doesn't have a legitimate case, or he can't make a legitimate case to be that. Only 2 people in NBA history average double-digit assists for their career. He's one of them. And the other guy's Magic. So I think he could sit at that table and say, look, I led the league in assists, 8 times in my career? I mean, yes, his assist numbers are longevity stats, but usually how I equate whether longevity is legit or not is what is the totals, or whether totals are legit or not is what does the averages tell you, right?
Okay. Yes, I'm with you on the averages over totals, 100%. But okay, let's take that logic further. You said Magic's the greatest passer ever, but Stockton has a case. Do you have Stockton number 2 all-time passers?
Yeah.
Most people don't.
Yeah.
Most
I
people don't.
I'm gonna give respect where respect is due. Stockton is a true prototypical point guard, right? He's a guy that facilitated the entire offense and ran through him. He had a clip on him too, but we ain't even gonna talk about that. But just as far as his playmaking ability, his court vision, his court awareness, the way he can control the pace and flow of the game, he kept these boys in check. And John Stockton through the door, when he finally got some PT, he showed you why he deserves to be the leader and the point guard of that team. I mean, he's an assist leader for like eight years out of his career. And like I say, to point to the longevity, if the averages don't match out that, then I got a problem with it. But you look at John Stockton, he's the all-time leader in assists, but he also averages 10-plus assists per game for his career. Only 2 people can say that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that deserves a seat at that table to say, look, if you got Magic ahead of me, I'm cool with that because Magic is also ahead of me on the assist per game mark. Magic is number 1. He's number 2. He said, but damn, I mean, who else you gonna put ahead of me? I mean, be real talk. I feel like John Stockton.
I don't want to.
Go ahead.
I don't want to make it seem like I think Stockton is just some like more or that I don't think a lot of his game. I just think that his numbers overstate his passing ability. I think he struggled at times to be a scorer when that's what defenses pressed him to do. I feel like that's one of the bigger reasons that Utah never really got over the hump is because the further they got in those playoff series, the more defenses were focused on Karl. And I think Stockton failed to do what we saw Kobe do in the year 2000 in Game 4 against the Pacers, for example. Shaq fouls out, Kobe steps up. I think there were times, a lot of moments in the Utah Jazz careers and Stockton and Malone's careers together where defenses were honed in on Karl and Stockton couldn't really elevate his scoring, even when, even occasionally.
That's true.
And
I mean,
to
Stock
me,
wasn't really a scorer. I understand. I get
yeah,
that.
yes, yep. And I think that held the Jazz back from winning potentially a championship or having at least a few more deep runs throughout their time together. And I think Oscar, while I wouldn't say he's a better passer than Stockton, I think because of his scoring, he's just as good of a playmaker in totality.
Okay, I can buy that. I can buy that.
And I would say he's a significantly better scorer. And defensively, I probably give the edge to Stockton, although Oscar probably had the intangibles as far as like he was a little quicker and a little more athletic and things like that.
Right.
So I just think overall as playmakers, they're pretty comparable. Stockton to me or Oscar to me is the much better scorer. Defensively, I'll give it to Stockton, but I would rather have Oscar. I think Oscar was the better basketball player just overall.
No doubt about that. I'm not mad at that. I mean, it is what it is. They all-time greats at the end of the day. If you got Big O there, I'm not here to argue with that. And, that's cool. I just feel like Stock don't get his flowers. Maybe it was because he's never been a number 1 option, but that's okay. He's the point guard of a team that was in an era where Michael Jordan dominated it. So it was going to be hard to win more than what they did with Jordan, with Jordan in all red. But let's move on to the shooting guards, right? I want to hear your top 5 shooting guards of all time.
So at 5, I have Reggie Miller. At 4, I have James Harden. At 3, I have Dwayne Wade. At 2, I have Kobe Bryant. At 1, I have the Michael Jordan.
Spicy, and I like spicy. Look,
I'm here to argue.
So you got Reggie Miller at 5, all time. All time. You got Reggie Miller at 5. Okay. Say that list for me one more time. A little bit slower. Okay. I'm going to give you a chance to fix your mistake. Hey. One more time for me.
Okay, I got you. Turn your ears on this time.
They on.
At 5, I have Reggie Miller. At 4, I have James Harden. At 3, I have Dwayne Wade. At 2, I have Kobe Bryant. At 1, I have the Michael Jordan.
Okay, I think the top 3 should be consensus. But my 5 And my 4, I have Harden at 5. James Harden, regardless of what you're looking at right now, I think James Harden deserves to sit at that table. And not only that, but the shooting guard position is the thinnest position in the league, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Of all time, pretty much. So, the fact that – but James Harden has some accolades. He's got a legitimate case to why he should be the second – or in the top 5 shooting guards of all time. I mean, this man is top 5 all time in three-pointers made. He's led his team to the playoffs damn near every single year of his career. I mean, he's been the number 1 option damn near every single year of his career outside of his OKC days. When he finally got the opportunity to showcase who he could be, he showed you who he could be. 35 point per game average, 36 point per game average. I mean, we haven't seen that since Jordan. I mean, Kobe did it in 06, but before that it was Jordan in the 80s. So I got Harden at 5. I got Jerry West at 4. I have Dwayne Wade at 3, Kobe at 2, and Michael Jordan at 1. Listen, Jerry West is very, very disrespected. Even though he is the logo, we got to look at what he did and unfortunately the era that he resided in. He got his ass kicked by Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics, who were the best team in the league. He didn't win until he got some help. When Wilt Chamberlain joined the team in the early 70s, that's when they finally won. You know what I mean? And he's the only player in NBA history to have a finals MVP and a losing effort. The man averaged like 35, 6, and 6 in that series. Jerry West was a walking bucket, and he was one of the very few in his era to actually be a guard and be efficient from the field. A lot of those guys shot 41, 42% back in the 60s and the 70s. Jerry West was shooting 47, 48% from the field. So Jerry West was a walking bucket, a walking 30 points per game. And we going to get into that Reggie Miller bit later. I'm going to let you off the hook right now, but we gonna circle back and get to that Reggie Miller bit.
I do want to say one thing about Jerry West. So I consider him a point guard. So I actually have him 6th on my point guard list. I don't think I underrate him. Me, at least watching the film, and then you look on NBA.com, Basketball Reference, he plays a lot more seasons, listed as a point guard. So I just have him listed as a point guard.
I've realized that on Basketball Reference too. I mean, he's a lot of people called him a 2, but on Basketball Reference, he only played shooting guard twice in his career. So he's considered more so a point. But I mean, I'll leave him at the 2 for now. But let's move on. We don't got too much gripe. The biggest gripe, of course, the elephant in the room, Reggie Miller at 5. Oh, we definitely going to circle back to that. But small forward, what you got for small forward? Give me your top 5 small forwards of all time.
So my top 5. At 5, I have Dr. J. At 4, I have Kawhi Leonard. At 3, I have Kevin Durant. At 2, I have Larry Bird. At 1, I have LeBron James.
Okay. You got Kawhi in there. That's
I do.
That's a discussion that needs to be had. Okay. Listen, when it comes to these lists, ladies and gentlemen, it's basically about what you value. That's why everybody's list is different. RJ, you can go ahead and give your list in these comments. I'm looking at it. You know what I'm saying? He's in my chalkboard chat, so I got nothing but love for you. I seen you politicking a couple of days ago in there. But everything is subjective. So it's basically what you value when you're talking about a ranking. What do you value, right? My small forwards, top 5 small forwards of all time. At 5, I got Scottie Pippen. At 4, I got Dr. J. At 3, I got Kevin Durant. At 2, I got Larry Bird. And at 1, I have LeBron James. What's understood don't need to be explained, right? Some people would put Durant over Bird. It is what it is. As long as you got these guys in the top 3, I don't really care where you put him outside of LeBron. He should be consensus, right? Dr. J at 4. What's understood don't need to be explained. He was a dog. We got cheated out of his ABA play. I wish that was in the NBA. I think Dr. J probably could have led some teams to some more championships because he was a straight animal. And Scottie Pippen, right? Scottie is a guy that I give a hard time to because a lot of Bulls fans and LeBron fans, or not Bulls fans, but a lot of LeBron fans try to make it seem like Scottie was better than what he was. But you cannot deny on an individual standpoint, when you look at Scottie Pippen as an NBA player, put everything to the back. He's a 6-time champion. You can't ignore that. Like, you can't ignore the fact that Scottie has 6 rings. You know what I'm saying? MVP candidate when Jordan stepped down. So these are things that need to be talked about, and I think should be held to a higher standard than what you holding it at. For you to have Kawhi Leonard, I mean, all time.
Okay, to be fair, I have Scotty 6, so Scotty is. I don't feel like I'm underrating him super. Kawhi Leonard for me. So there's a few things that I value when it comes to my all-time rankings. I am definitely a prime over longevity guy, because when we're having discussions about is Mike better than LeBron, for example, we're not talking about Wizards Mike versus Laker LeBron. Like, we're talking about at their best, in their primes. So I lean towards prime. That's number one. Number two is I appreciate two-way players, especially guys who can carry on both ends. I think that's extremely rare in NBA history to have a guy who can carry you on offense, give you 30, and on defense, still guarding their best player, still guarding the other team's best player, still playing elite defense. I think thirdly for me is, as much as I love defense, I think we're kidding ourselves if offense and defense, we think they should be viewed the same. So that's my case really for Kawhi over Scotty in particular, since that's where our difference is Kawhi to me is 85% of Jordan offensively while still being 90% of Scotty defensively. So, take a little edge off of Scotty. I still think he's the better defender, but I think Kawhi's gap offensively is enough for me to want to lean towards him.
I'm not mad at that, especially with Kawhi being a two-time NBA champion, two-time Finals MVP. He's got a few accolades on his belt. It's just the thing that doesn't tickle my fancy with Kawhi on all-time lists right now is his totals. His averages are nice, but the totals are not there. I don't even think Kawhi has 10,000 points yet. So it's crazy to put him amongst all-time greats and say that he's next to Harden, who has the totals, who has the numbers, who has some accolades, not that many accolades, but he's got some accolades. He's an MVP, and I think on the defensive side of the ball, when it comes to Kawhi and Scotty, I think it's pretty even. They right there, they neck and neck. But like you say, the difference between the two is on the offensive side, and I don't like that 85% of Jordan shit you just said. Don't do that. I don't like that.
80, nah. Okay, 80, 75%.
25. Don't compare Kawhi to Jordan. They're in a different bracket. It's a different bracket. We're not finna sit here and do that.
25%.
25%. You wanna bring Jordan up into that? 25%. That's all I'm giving Kawhi.
Stop the nonsense.
Kawhi is not 85% of Michael Jordan. I'm sorry.
I'm just talking about offensively.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
As an offensive player,
Jordan is the greatest scorer in NBA history.
I agree.
So if Kawhi is 15 points off of Jordan, where the hell is Kawhi all time in scoring?
I think Kawhi is probably a top
1,000.
Stop.
Top 1,000. Kawhi ain't got has Kawhi even averaged 30?
Okay, that's one more point I was gonna make. Okay, so you're leaning on totals. Okay, in Kawhi's case, there are exceptions to every rule. In Kawhi's case, one of the reasons that he doesn't have the total is two things. Number one, he was a little bit of a late bloomer, but he was a late bloomer because he got drafted into a situation with a team that was already contending. He didn't get the opportunity to carry a bad team for 2-3 years and put up numbers. Especially, like, he was probably the fourth best player, fifth best player, even when they were winning championships. Like, that's how good that team was. And the moment that Tim Duncan retired and Kawhi took over as a number one option, the following year, he was first team All-NBA, won a Defensive Player of the Year. So, and then the year after that, he was top 3 in the MVP vote. So to me, it's not like it wasn't there. To me, it was just shadowed because they had Duncan and Ginobili and Parker and Pop in the system, and Kawhi was just a cog in the machine. Then as soon as it was lifted, as soon as they put some responsibility on the man, he was like, I'm here.
That's
right
a compelling
away.
argument. That's a compelling argument. I like that. I'm not mad at that. But to be honest with you, Even though we take that into consideration, that you may be right, that there's a reason why the totals don't look the way that they look, at the end of the day, they ain't looking the way that they looking. So whether it's because I couldn't go to work because my mom died, or because I couldn't bend down to tie my shoe because my back was hurting, to the job, it's all the same shit. They don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? All they know is your ass ain't here.
That context matters.
That context was extremely valuable, and it was valid. You know, we got valid reasons why you ain't where you supposed to be. You know, that's valid. Context applied. I like it, but we really don't care here because you're trying to compare him to James Harden. You're trying to put him in a conversation with, not James Harden, but Scotty. And like I say, I'm not mad at it because Kawhi does have a compelling argument to why he should be at least considered to be top 7 or top 8 small forwards of all time. But at 5, ahead of Scotty, 6 rings is real loud, man. 6 rings is real loud. It's real loud, man.
It is extremely loud. You're right.
Like,
right. I'm gonna give Scotty his flowers. You're right. 6 rings is
6
rings,
right, man. That's loud as hell. But let's move on to power forwards, right? We gonna slide through these lists. What is your top 5 power forwards of all time?
All right, top 5 power forwards in NBA history. At 5, I got Charles Barkley. At 4, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo. At 3, I have Karl Malone. At 2, I have Dirk Nowitzki. At 1, I have Kevin Garnett. Tim Duncan is a center.
Oh, you one of those.
Duncan is a center. Okay, so before anybody hate, Tim Duncan is a center. And a lot of people think that I say that so that I can delete him down, so that I can, pull off of his, so, I can't call him the greatest power forward ever, but you'll see. It doesn't affect my ranking for Tim. He's still high on my list. So Tim Duncan is a center. He's a center.
Okay. Well, I got Tim Duncan as a power forward, right? I'm not in the business of making these assumptions on my own. When he played, he got drafted as a power forward because they had David Robertson. We was talking about this on the sports behavior group and Chalkboard. Hey, click that link. Go ahead and join up. We was talking about this yesterday, and there somebody brought up the fact that, is Tim Duncan a power forward or is he classified as a center? He was drafted as a power forward because they had David Robinson. Majority of his career, he did play center, but he did also play a lot of power forward. So you could call him a hybrid. You could call him a switch. You can call him whatever you want to call him. I'm going to call him what they called him. I'm going to call him what Pop called him. I'm going to call him what he called himself.
Pop called him a center.
Pop said he was more like
been on record.
Pop said he was more like a center. He played a lot of center. That's what Pop said. You could classify him as a center, but when I looked at the sheets, when I looked at the starting lineups, Tim Duncan was at power forward. So you could say what you want to say.
For some years he was.
Right. A lot of years. He was a power forward.
It's about 2/3 of his minutes were played at center in his career. Total minutes, playoffs and regular season.
2/3?
In the playoffs, it went up. It went up to 71% of his career minutes. In his career, he played at center. Okay. Playoffs. About 66% total.
I can get with that, but he was drafted as a power forward, so that's what I'm gonna keep him at. It's like the AI. It's like the AI situation. Is he a point guard? Is he a shooting guard? He's drafted as a point guard, moved to shooting guard, played shooting guard, and then so it's like with the Tim Duncan thing. You really got to go down his career and see what centers he played with if you want to classify him as a power forward or a center or whatever the case may be. So that's neither here nor there. But my top 5 power forwards of all time. At 5, I got Dirk. At 4, I got KG. At 3, I have Giannis. At 2, I have Karl Malone. And at 1, I have Tim Duncan. So,
say that one more time.
One more time for the people in the back. At 5, I have Dirk Nowitzki. At 4, I have Kevin Garnett. At 3, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo. At 2, I have Karl Malone. And at 1, I have Tim Duncan.
You think there are 4 power forwards in NBA history better than Dirk?
Yes.
4?
Yes.
That is
Dirk.
No.
Listen. Who's that right there? That's Dirk. Dirk is one of my favorite players all time, but I have to remain objective, right? And I'm not, and like I say, it's levels to it. What do you value when it comes to your ranking? I value longevity. I value consistency. I value championships. I also value totals and accolades more than anything. Or not totals, but averages, totals, and accolades. Those three things in conjunction. Because like I say, I repeat this shit all the time. I don't care about your totals if the averages ain't averaging, point blank. I don't care that you got 18,000 points if you only averaging 15 a game. I don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? I would rather look at a guy that has 10,000 points for his career but averages 28 points per game. That lets me know, okay, his career was incomplete. Something happened. Did he get hurt? What happened? You know, let me read into this. So the reason why I got Dirk at 5 is sheerly because of the defensive end of the ball. And Dirk wasn't a good enough scorer to where we could overlook that defense when it comes to the rest of the 4 guys that I got on this list, right? So Kevin Garnett is arguably one of the best defensive big men ever at the power forward position, right? Giannis, you could attribute to that as well. Defensive player of the year. Giannis is a dog defensively and actually more versatile than anybody else on his list. He can guard the perimeter. He can swing. He can guard the front court. Anybody else on his list. And I think Giannis's placement in my top 5 may give a lot of people a pushback. But if you look at what he's done already in his career, it speaks volumes. Him as well being a late bloomer, he's already accomplished so much in only 5 years, 6 year span. So Dirk Nowitzki is not a better defender than anybody on this list, including Karl Malone, who's the second worst defender on this list. But Karl Malone is a guy that has 36,000 points. Nobody in league history can say that outside of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and LeBron James. So, I mean, it's and that's just not longevity because he averages, 25, 26 points per game, 27 points per game for his career. So, Kevin, his scoring can outweigh the lack there is on the defensive side of the ball. And I don't think it was as bad as Dirk because let's be honest. On the defensive side of the ball, Dirk was a liability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Slow feet. Dirk was a liability on the defensive side of the ball. Right. And I love Dirk, man. I love Dirk. Especially his influence and impact on the game and what he had and what he did for the power forward position, him and Kevin Garnett. They revolutionized it. They changed the way that position is being played. But when you're talking about over Giannis, over Karl Malone, over Duncan, I can't do it.
See, I don't have a problem with Giannis. I think you got him at 3. I have him at 4. Cool with that. To me, Dirk and Malone are close enough. I have Dirk 2 and Malone 3. So I think that they're close as players. But I don't know how you get to 4. I mean, you got Tim Duncan in there instead of me, so that'll probably throw Barkley out. All in all, I don't hate it. I will say one thing about Malone. I have him as one of the 10 greatest scorers in NBA history. Like, I think Malone is that guy. The numbers speak for themselves. So, like you said, what's understood don't need to be explained with him. Dirk's defensively, I just feel like many players have holes in their game that you have to build a team to overcome those. Mm-hmm. Like with Giannis, like he has to be surrounded by shooting. Like that's because that's not what he's good at. Like with Dirk, he wasn't a great defender, so you had to surround him with defenders. But to me, it's not much different. Like that's what you're supposed to do. No player's perfect. He was the worst defender on the top 5 for sure, but I think he gets credit as the greatest big man shooter, but I think he needs to start getting a lot more credit as one of the all-time scorers too. Because on that same list that Karl Malone is 3rd, I think Dirk's in the top 10 on that list.
Top 5.
So top 5 on that list. Yeah. So he needs to start getting more respect as just a scorer.
I think only 7 people in NBA history have over 30,000 points, and he's one of them. Like, to say that Dirk Nowitzki has 30,000 points, like I think it's Kobe, Mike, Wilt, LeBron, Kareem, Dirk. That's it. Kobe, Mike. Yeah, Kobe, Mike, Kareem, Malone, Wilt, Dirk. Yeah. It's only 7 guys. So to be on that list is an accomplishment in itself. 7 guys out of damn near 3,000 guys that have played this game throughout NBA history. To be on that list it speaks volumes. But again, the guys that I got in front of him, the discrepancy, the gap defensively between him and Kevin Garnett, what's understood don't need to be explained. Same thing with Giannis. and Karl Malone has almost 7,000 more points than Dirk. So it's like you were good offensively, but I was better, and I was better defensively. That's why I have him ahead of him. And Malone was a dog, man. And Tim Duncan, we know he's got the rings and all the accolades and the defensive first teams and all of that, the defensive teams, period, and all of that. So, I mean, it's
I actually have Dirk higher my all-time scores list than I do Malone. I think I got him one spot ahead. I just his ability, his self-creation, his ability to create a shot or a good look for himself from all three levels, versatility. His game was very malleable. Like push him left, right. There was really no way you can guard him that would kind of take his game away because he was 7 feet and could shoot over anybody. All three levels. You put a big man on him, you put your 5 on him, he's too quick, especially when he was younger. You know, you put a smaller man on him, right to the post, left shoulder, right shoulder, fade away. I mean, I like his offensive game a lot. I mean, I wouldn't say a lot more, but just a little bit more than I like Malone.
Mark Jenkins just said it. Malone could do all of that except shoot threes. And the thing about Malone is I think he could have shot threes if he worked on it, if that was a part of the league back then, but it really wasn't. I've watched Malone shoot a lot of shots where literally the heel of his foot is touching the three-point line. The worst shot in basketball. I've seen him shoot a lot of shots like that. And Malone could give it to you however you want it. He could post up 18 feet from the basket like Melo over either shoulder. Every post move in the book, fadeaway was godly. Like, I mean, Malone was a dog, jump shooter, everything. And he could bank. So it's like, when it comes to
I don't want to make it seem like I'm dog Malone. Like, Malone was that guy.
Yeah, he was that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember growing up, even while Mike was still in the league, I was going to school telling folks Malone was my favorite player. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how much I liked Karl Malone's game. When I was a kid, I was, watching saying, hey, bro, what? Overjoyed? Like, bro, I like Malone. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a kid, I remember that. So it's like, I don't know. He got a special place in my heart, so that could be why it's a little bit of bias involved in that. But I think he deserves that spot, even though it may be biased. I can make an argument for Malone to be the second greatest power forward of all time. So, Juho say Westbrook hate must stop. Hey, man, he got to play better. In order to stop the hatred, stop being ass. That's how you do it. The Westbrook hate should never stop. He should play better. Point blank, period. Like, come on, Juho. Jujo. However you say that. Last but not least, centers. Give me your top 5 centers of all time.
Okay, my top 5 centers. At 5, I got Bill Russell. At 4, I got Hakeem Olajuwon. At 3, I got Tim Duncan. At 2, I got Shaquille O'Neal. At 1, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
At 5, I got Bill Russell. At 4, I got Wilt Chamberlain. At 3, I have Hakeem. At 2, I have Shaquille O'Neal. And number 1 is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, you went out of your way to take Tim Duncan off of the power forwards list and put him onto your centers list, and you got him 3rd. And you have Shaq at 2 and Kareem at 1?
Yes.
And Wilt is not on your list.
Wilt is 6, yep.
But you chose to put Bill Russell on the list. Why?
The Russell over Wilt case is really simple to me. I think a lot of times, especially as a superstar.
Before you answer that.
Okay. Understand
what I'm about to do right now. Because I'm about to walk you into a serious corner.
Hey, you think you're about to walk me down, but you don't know what I packed to bring with me. Let's get to it.
I hope it's an AR-15 because I'm about to walk you right up into this slot. Go ahead, tell me why you got Bill Russell over Wilt Chamberlain on your top 5 centers all time. I need to hear this. I'm on a need-to-know basis.
Okay, so firstly, I think Bill Russell has a case. If we're talking about relative to your era as the greatest defender ever, I think he's one of the 3 greatest defenders in NBA history at minimum. Those Celtics teams were average offensively, even relative to their era. They were dominating. Their offenses were average. 8 teams in the league, they never finished top 2 in offense. Never finished in the top 2. Not once. Their average out of the 11 seasons where he won championships, their average was about 3.5, so 3rd or 4th offensively. Defensively, they were 1 by a mile every single year they were winning chips, and Russell was the biggest part of that. Secondly, over the course of your career, like excuses become excuses become excuses. We're not gonna pretend like Wilt never played with any talent. Even when those teams matched up, there's a reason. Like over the course, 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, Kareem will rise to the top. If I'm beating you every time, put up all the numbers you want. I'm beating you every time we play. I'm winning 11. You won 2 in the same era. Like winning.
And
it's crazy to me that this is a wild take because
it's wild
nobody
to me.
in any other sport, the man with the most rings is always like he gets president. Is Tom Brady the most talented quarterback? Does he have the best arm in NBA history? He's just the best winner.
Yeah. Now,
he's the best winner. He got the most chips.
I get that. This is why I don't want to say it's egregious, but this is why I strongly disagree with it. Because talent matters. That's why I like that take that you brought up with Tom. But Tom Brady wasn't ass.
No, he wasn't.
Bill Russell was ass. Listen, hear me out. You say he's the greatest defender of all time, arguably. That's fine. Okay. Against who? That's what most people would ask you. Who's he defending? Well, he had an opportunity to defend one of the greatest scorers of all time, and he averaged 25 and 20 against him on 49% shooting.
What were those numbers, though, relative to what Wilt was doing to the rest of the league? Relative to what the rest of the league, what Wilt was doing to the rest of the league. Bill Russell's efficiency went down by 13 percentage points in the matchups that he had with Bill. Relative to the rest of the league.
But if I told you, relative to the rest of the league, if I tell you this man averaged 30 and 20 on 49% from the field,
was doing more against everybody except for Bill.
Well, you didn't slow. So you slowed him down, but everybody else in the, who? That's why I say against who. So you are all-time great defensively, but against who? The 60s wasn't a terrible era. It was just the era in which it wasn't oversaturated with talent. You had your guys. You had your Nate Thurmans. You had your Elgin Baylors. You had your Bill Russells. You had your Wilt Chamberlains. You had your guys. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't oversaturated with talent because of the limited amount of teams. So when I'm looking at the 70s, I'm saying, well, no free agency. Guys could pretty much run the table if you got a squad with you. And Bill Russell had 8 Hall of Famers with him at his highest peak of his career. Situational Hall of Fame, yeah, whatever. Bob Cousy was giving you 18 a night. Bill Russell never averaged 20, so he's leading his team defensively in a league.
He
was leading his team defensively in a league where all the shots were taken in the paint. Not only, yes, there was no perimeter shooting in the 60s.
Correct.
As the years progressed, people started to push further and further out. Only person that was really shooting from distance in the 70s or in the 60s was Jerry West. But let's be real. Look, no goaltending, no 3 in the key. So all he had to do was stand in the paint and the coaches say, we want to get as close to the basket as possible. That was the philosophy back then.
If it was so easy, then how come nobody else in the league was nearly as good defensively as
Wilt
him?
Chamberlain was.
Wilt was taller,
Wilt
longer,
Chamberlain.
more athletic.
Wilt Chamberlain
he was not a better defensive player.
I'm not saying he's better, but Wilt Chamberlain is right here with him.
No,
yes.
I don't think it's that.
Wilt Chamberlain was
Bill
more athletic.
He
was quicker.
Of the era.
Oh, bro, he was more athletic. He was quicker. He was stronger. He was faster. He was a better scorer. He was on par defensively. He was a better rebounder.
He could jump higher. No, he was longer. He could jump higher. He definitely wasn't quicker. Bill Russell was by far the better perimeter defender. It's not even close to me. It's not even close. And again, we're talking about a guy in Bill Russell 6'9". If it's like you said it was, and as long as you can protect the paint, you can dominate, then how come even you would agree that Bill was a better defender?
Bill, okay, if you want to say Bill Russell was a better defender than Wilt Chamberlain, that's not a nasty take. I'm not mad at that. But we're not going to sit here and act like Wilt Chamberlain wasn't a dog defensively. But my thing is talent means a lot to me. And to me, when I go back and I watch some Bill Russell clips and I watch games of Bill Russell, he looks very uncoordinated. Not only that, He looks very, very, very. He might be the most offensively challenged player next to Ben Wallace I've ever seen in my life. This man never averaged 20 points in an era that had 160 possessions per game. Not only that, all his shots came from 4 to 6 feet from the basket. Every single attempt he's ever taken in his career came 4 to 6 feet away from the basket. What was his shooting percentage? 42%. How do you shoot 42% from layup range? How is that possible? And we want to call you an all-time great when you were this challenged offensively? I'm not rolling with that. I'm going to take the guy who's giving you 30 on any given night, playing stout defense and grabbing 25-plus rebounds a night. That's the guy I'm rolling with.
The era bared out. Yes, they had very different games. You can argue which
not
one
different,
you like more,
better.
Whatever.
One was better.
Talented, who was more? You can argue who was more talented, who was more skilled. Do that all you want. The cream rose to the top. The era showed you which one was more impactful. Take whichever package you want based on how pretty it looked or how what the numbers tell you. The impact was the impact.
Now
it was much more. Bill was way more impactful to his teams, and he was the most impactful player in the league for the entire decade of the 60s.
So let me ask you this then, Jeremiah. Since you have the nerve and audacity to put Russell over Wilt Chamberlain, what makes that any different than putting Kawhi over Scottie?
What do you mean? How is that different?
Because you basically stepping on your own toes with this. Because the reasons why you have Russell over Wilt ain't the reasons why you should have Scottie over Kawhi. Because the first thing you came out of your mouth was 11 championships. On what planet are we talking about a guy with 11 championships, and that's a nasty take? So I would put offensively.
Scottie has 6 rings. Scottie has 6. You the biggest Jordan fan I know.
Yeah,
Scottie got 6 rings,
no doubt.
But let's keep it a buck. How many of those rings do you have if you hadn't played with Mike?
None.
Okay.
How many of these rings would Bill Russell have if he didn't play with 8 Hall of Famers?
Kawhi's rings. Let's go back to Kawhi and Scottie for a second. Kawhi has shown us that he can be the best player on a championship team. Now, whether that's Scottie's fault or not Scottie's fault it is what it is. You get drafted where you get drafted. You play with who you play with. But we saw Scottie. We only got to see him 1 year in that situation, and he went out in the second round. That's unfortunate, but we saw Kawhi do it. Like, we've seen Kawhi lead a team, by far the best player. Like the Malone-Wilt situation, I think they had, especially once Wilt got Jerry and Elgin, teams were comparable. Wilt was still winning most of the matchups. The Celtics were still winning most of the matchups.
Yeah, but see,
that's he's more skilled. He's more talented. I get it. But
that's the thing. 8 Hall of Famers, and if you want to call them situational,
why were they Hall of Famers though?
Because
of him, not the other way around.
Because they were extremely talented, and they not extremely talented. Let me take that back. Because they were talented for that era, and they all played together. Wilt Chamberlain didn't have the luxury of playing with the guys that he played with, Casey, AC, Kuzi, and all of these other guys that he had. It's 8 of these guys. 4 at least.
And 5 of those guys are Hall of Famers because they happen to be on those teams.
Man, I'm going to tell you like this here.
Replaceable level
for a guy that was averaging 15 points a night, somebody got to be in that joker doing the scoring because Bill Russell was not the one. He was shooting a low percentage, averaging 15 points. If you're going to shoot 42%, you better average 30, and that's real talk.
He wasn't a great scorer.
No. That's an understatement.
Okay, he was a horrible scorer.
I like that better.
Horrible score.
I like that better.
100% a horrible score. No question about it. But again, the cream rise to the top over time. Even once Will got some help, Bill Russell Celtic teams were still beating him.
What did you tell me was the most important aspect of basketball? What you told me? You said
scoring.
You said let's not act like defense is on the same level as offense. That's word for word what you said, quote unquote, right?
Yes.
So why are we now overvaluing defense because it helped Bill Russell win championships? Somebody has to lead that team in scoring, and it was never him.
In that particular era, Bill Russell's defense, and again, the evidence bears this out, was just more impactful to winning basketball games and championships than Wilt's scoring was. Again, the years that Wilt
Why
was
though?
averaging 50 and 40 and whatever and going crazy, Russell was winning
Because his team
over
was
those years.
miles ahead of his.
Even once Bill got some help, the Celtics were still beating
I
him.
guarantee you, if you swap, no. When Wilt Chamberlain finally got some help and he left and he went to LA, actually he won one before he left. He won one in 76, I believe. Then he not 76, 67, I believe, or 66. Wilt Chamberlain won one.
One's at the end of the 70s.
At the end of the 60s,
yep.
he won one. Then he got with Jerry
Then
West.
he went to LA.
Elgin Baylor retired. Then him and Jerry West won one. And he was the finals MVP both times. So Wilt Chamberlain, if you give Wilt Chamberlain the same help that Bill Russell had, I got no doubt in my mind that he could.
They don't win 11.
They might not win 11, but if you because Wilt Chamberlain is a scorer and Russell wasn't, so that paved the way for other guys to score the ball because he was such a terrible scorer offensively. I'm talking about this dude was clunky. He was walking like he carrying a bag of bricks on his back. Like, I'm just looking at Bill Russell. I'm like, bro, you look terrible. You look like my sister trying to hit a layup. You look bad out here, bro. I'm looking at this shit. Wilt, up and under with the left. He had a hook shot. He had a fadeaway. Offensively sound. It's just, now if you bad on offense or you not like Scotty. Scotty's not bad on offense. He just wasn't as great a scorer as a lot of the other guys in the league. But Scotty could put the ball in the hoop, and he didn't look bad while averaging his 18 points per game. Bill Russell looked bad. You know what I'm saying? So in order to be in my anytime ranking or anything like that, I got respect for what you did and what you accomplished, your accolades and whatnot. But I'm going to take talent more times than not over accolades. If you was a guy that got both, then yeah. But Bill only has accolades.
I'm gonna take impact over skill every day and twice on Sundays.
That's the difference in ranking. It depends on what you value. But I like it though. Let's move on. We want to head back. When we was talking about the top shooting guards of all time, you mentioned Reggie Miller at 5 as a top 5 shooting guard of all time. I think Reggie Miller might not even be a top 10 if I'm doing the list. But I want to know why you so big on Reggie Miller. Before we close out, let's discuss this Reggie Miller. Then we're going to get into the top 10 players heading into next season based off what we saw this year. But first, real quick, I want to discuss Reggie Miller. Why are you so big on him? Why are you so high on him? Why is he your guy? Because I don't think he's that guy. Why is Reggie Miller your guy?
Okay, so I got 10 points here. The PowerPoint presentation, I'm going to go 1 point at a time. Make sure you just keep your ears open. No. Number 1, elite playoff performer. Nobody in NBA history. Elite playoff performer. Nobody in NBA history consistently increased their volume and their efficiency throughout their prime as a scorer from regular season to postseason more consistently than Reggie Miller. Out of his 11-year prime, volume goes up every year. Efficiency goes up every year he made the playoffs, regular season to postseason. You can't say that about anybody else in NBA history. Number 2, an overall efficiency titan. Among the 22 players in NBA history who've scored at least 25,000 points, 22 guys, Reggie is first in true shooting percentage. Number 3, an offensive impact monster. Only 3 players in NBA history have led a top 5 offense 6 years in a row. Only 3. LeBron, Magic, Nash. An 11-year stretch, that 11-year stretch of his prime, 10 of those years, Pacers had a top 10 offense.
Say that. Okay.
The only year they didn't was the year that Reggie Miller missed 34 games.
Okay, say that stat for
Number
me.
4.
Say that stat for me. I want that PowerPoint one more time. That last one you just said. I need that. Say that to me one more time.
Only 3 players. Only 3 players in NBA history have led a top 5 offense 6 years in a row. Okay? 6 years in a row. Okay. LeBron, Magic, Nash.
Stop. LeBron, Magic, Nash are the only 3 players in league history to lead a team to
lead a top 5 offense.
Lead a top 5 offense for 6 consecutive seasons.
6 consecutive seasons.
Now, when I look at you list those names, two of those guys we don't think of as scorers, right?
Okay.
So that automatically makes me jump back at the list. Based off the players that you named, this stat means absolutely nothing to me now. Absolutely.
It is just guys who lead. These are just guys who.
So
I don't care.
why
It doesn't
Jordan ain't
matter
on
who's
that
on the
list?
team.
Why Jordan?
I'm gonna lead an elite.
Why
offense
Jordan ain't on that? Why Jordan ain't on that list? So Jordan never led a top 5 offense.
The only reason he's not on this list is because he retired. He would have if he had played.
He could have went 84, 85, 86, 87,
again,
88, 89.
He didn't have enough help for those Bulls offenses weren't elite. They weren't top 5 all of those.
He was
years.
giving you 37 a night.
Second in year 2, he missed a whole year. Remember, that's the year he broke his foot. Okay, and then that would mean that 5 years in a row is done. So from year 3, that would be year 3 to year 7
85,
or 8.
86, 87, 88, 89.
Yes, those Bulls they just weren't good enough offensively where they were top 5 all of those years in a row.
So basically what you're saying is that stat is more indicative of who you have around you versus who you are as an individual scorer.
No.
Magic wasn't a great individual scorer. Neither was Steve Nash.
Who did Reggie have around him?
We talking about as a collective unit. Collective unit, team success as a collective unit. That's a team stat you just named. That doesn't that stat in particular.
That points to players, and when I'm on the team, you're going to have an elite offense. Again, 10 times in 11 seasons. 10 times. So it's not just this 6-year stretch he was for top 5.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence.
11 seasons.
I don't think it's a coincidence.
At some point, it's not a coincidence.
Hold on. I don't think it's a coincidence that if you look at the list of the guys that you named, Magic had Kareem, Worthy, Wilkes, Nixon. Great scores. If you look at Steve Nash, he had Marion, he had Stat, he had a bunch of other guys that could score the ball. Yep. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you look at
OG. That's my point. Look at the other guys on this list. LeBron had Wade, Kyrie. Yeah. Magic had Kareem, Nash. Who was Reggie's best teammate with the Pacers? He shouldn't be on this list.
He had Mark Jackson.
He shouldn't be on this list, but he is. Who is his next best teammate he ever played with in his career? Say his name right now. Mark Jackson.
Who else he had?
Was Mark a scorer?
He was a facilitator.
Okay, exactly. Who was the best scorer Reggie ever played with? The best scorer
Probably
Reggie
himself.
Miller ever played with. That's my point.
The best scorer he ever played with?
And he is.
If you the best scorer he ever played with as an individual.
Yeah, who's the best scorer Reggie Miller ever?
The best scorer?
I think I know who it is.
Jalen Rose?
I remember Reggie retired in 05.
Right.
And Jalen got traded to the Raptors. So he played half of his.
Jalen was on that championship team when they went to the finals and got smoked.
Yeah. I would say I would put Jalen third and put Rick Smith second.
Rick Smith. Who I mean
I'll put Rick Smith second. That's the best. He's not a Kareem. He's not a Kyrie.
But we also
Amari Stoudemire.
But we also not finna sit here and act like Reggie won anything. Like with these teammates. He didn't win shit.
Yes. Not because their defenses weren't that great. And because he played in the league with Mike. Like you a Mike fan.
Okay.
You know why Reggie ain't win shit.
Okay.
And speaking of that, in 98 was the closest the Bulls ever came getting beat. The closest they ever came was in 98 Eastern Conference Finals against Reggie's Pacers. Go ahead.
Okay, no, you go ahead. Finish your PowerPoint.
Okay. So let me finish my points here, okay? While he wasn't a great passer, he was an elite playmaker because he was the godfather of gravity. Okay, now listen to this. And in that same 11-year span where they had 10 top 10 offenses, you talking about he never won nothing, and you're right, he didn't never won any championships. But in that 11-year span, they went to 5 Eastern Conference Finals. 3 of the times that they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, they went to a Game 7 and ended up losing to the team that won the chip that year. And he has an NBA Finals as the best player on the team. He has that on his resume. Okay, so let's not disrespect the man. Okay, in his 3rd year in the league, He was already a superstar. Averaged 25, 4 and 4 on 51, 41, 87 shooting splits. Only 2 guys in the league did that this year. Only 2. In his third year, he was 25 a night. 64% true shooting percentage. Okay? I think the tape shows him as a much better defender than he gets credit for. And this is also one of the reasons I think that the Pacers never beat the Bulls or never beat any of these teams with other elite scorers. You look in that series, who did the Pacers have matching up on Mike? It was Reggie. The fact that the best perimeter defender the Pacers ever gave that man was himself is front office malpractice. Okay?
front office
malpractice. Okay? The fact that never put another perimeter defender around that man is nasty work.
You forgot about Ron Artest. You forgot about Jermaine O'Neal.
But that was 2002 and later. Reggie was out of his prime by then. Reggie's prime was the 90s. Didn't put anybody around this man in the 90s to help him win a championship.
He wasn't finna win one anyway.
Okay, but the Pacers still didn't help the man out. I mean, maybe you're gonna fall off the cliff anyway, but let me just give you a parachute just in case. They didn't get a man nothing.
I feel like Reggie's team was serviceable enough. That was the era where guys had one superstar and you had role players with you. That wasn't the era where you had multiple guys putting up 25 plus points per game like it is today. So
but Reggie never even had a Scotty. Like, that's my point. He's up here in the conversations with these other offensive titans, although he's never had a guy like that.
I don't even remember who he had on his squad. Let me look. I don't even remember.
Dale Davis,
Mark Jackson, Dale Davis, and Rick Smith is the only ones that really come to mind.
Jalen Rose.
I'm talking about in his prime. Let's see.
Oh, in his prime.
I'm trying to look. Because I don't even really, this team ain't do nothing. Garbage. Oh, he had Deadlift Shrimp. He had Chuck Person.
He did have
Rick
Deadlift.
Smits. Solid squad.
I'm not gonna paint him as a terrible offensive team, but none of those guys are
solid. They had 6 guys in double figures. That's why he's leading them offensively. You said he never had. Chuck Person was averaging 20 and 6 that season.
Okay, what's your point?
Reggie averaged 24, 3 and 3. Chuck averaged 20 and 6. Then you had Deadlift Shrimp giving you 16 a night.
Scoring more points means he was a better offensive player.
Deadlift Shrimp was giving you 16, and Rick Smith was giving you 15.
Okay, now go to their roster in '98 and go to their roster in 2000 when they made the finals.
That's not his prime.
And see those.
What you consider in his prime?
Okay, exactly. He wasn't even in his prime, and he was still leading the Pacers, contending for championships.
Chuck Person, Deadlift Shrimp, Rick
not
Smith, Dale Davis. They had. You not finna sit up on this line one and cap. This is 91. This is 91. Look, let's go to 94.
That's 91.
Yeah.
He over the course of a decade and some change, you're gonna have times where you play with decent players, and you're gonna have times where you play with less offensive talent.
Here's my problem with Reggie Miller.
No matter whether he had talent next to him or not, some years he had some years he didn't. We're contending either way.
Here's my issue. I understand where you're coming from with the behind the back stats, right? But here's my issue that I have with Reggie Miller. Plain sight, if you're just watching the game, yes, he had impact on this game. Reggie Miller's a good player, but is he a great player, an all-time great player? I don't agree with that.
Yes.
To say that Reggie Miller is better than Jerry West to me is almost blasphemy. It's close to blasphemy.
He's not. I have Jerry West higher on my all-time list.
You didn't even have Jerry West on your top 5 shooting guards.
Okay.
Because you got him as a point guard.
No, he's higher on my all-time list.
I think you doing that to maneuver the system. You doing that to
No.
You sliding around some shit with that.
Like Jerry West was a point guard.
Look, here's my problem with him. He played the thinnest position arguably all time. Right? Thinnest position, arguably all time. So you got nothing but space and opportunity for you to at least pile up some type of success. Not only success, at least like on an individual standpoint. Like, damn what the team did for you. Like, sometimes I look at an individual player and say, what were you as an individual? Like, that stat that you brought up about 6 offenses leading the team, that's cool and that's cute, but that lets me know you had guys around you. Then I go look at those 6 seasons that you're talking about. guys are giving you 20, another guy's giving you 15, two guys are giving you 16. So it's like that explains why they were a number one offense in the league, where a lot of production wasn't granted like that for a lot of guys. Reggie Miller's a 5-time All-Star. He played 18 seasons, bro. You got him as a top 5. He played 18 seasons. He only went to the All-Star game 5 times.
This is the problem with accolades. This is the problem with accolades because they're voted on by the media.
It doesn't.
If the media,
you can't be denied if you that guy. Whether they what they looking at, you can't be denied by that. Reggie Miller was just not that dude.
And
he played in the Jeremiah,
none
the
of
thinnest
those,
position in league history.
None.
Name
of
me
those
5
accolades,
shooting guards from his era.
None of those accolades say anything about how well he played in the postseason.
Can you name?
Those
yes.
accolades.
Okay. He played better in the postseason than he did in the regular season, and all kudos to him for that. He gets class for that. That's another reason why he's a good player. But all-time great?
Great player.
All-time great, top 75?
All-time great.
No way in here. This man averaged 18, 3, and 3 for his career.
And one of the most clutch players in NBA history, too. Let's not forget that.
Okay, he was clutch. 18, 3, and 3. That's his regular season average.
Okay, so what do you want from your superstar? I got a list here. What do you want from your superstar? If you're going to have a guy as a number one option, what do I need from you? Number one, I need you to be money late in ball games. I need to be able to trust you with the ball in your hand, clock winding down. Number two, I need you to be able to carry one side of the ball. Defense, offense, I need to be able to rely on you as one side being your strength or both, one or both. Number three, I need longevity from you. I need you to play a while and be good for a while. Right? And number five, and this is the most important one. Reggie had that dog too. Like Reggie always played his best against Mike and the Bulls. He always brought. That's his
one
game.
thing. He had the mentality.
Big profile. Yeah, he had that dog. He was chewing out Spike Lee.
You ain't lying about that.
Game. Like he had that in him too. And so for me, like all of the things, I need you to perform well in the playoffs. Check. I need you to be money late in games. Check. I need you to be good, fast, third year, averaging 25 already. Check. I need the longevity, 18 seasons. Check. I had an 11-year prime. Check. I need you to have that dog in you. I need you to have that mentality. Check. I need you to make your teammates better. I need you to be able to make life better for them and easier for them on the court. Check. Like, what? To me, he's checking all the boxes I care about.
You think he's checking all the boxes to exemplify what it means to be a superstar in his league, right? But my thing is, when you look at it and the totals and the averages, it's just not doing it for me, man. When I'm thinking about top 75, I'm thinking about James Harden. So you mean to tell me you think Reggie Miller is better than Kyrie Irving? You think Reggie Miller should have deserved it over Dwight Howard? All time. And player.
Reggie Miller is
player.
To me, Reggie and Kyrie's all time.
Who's the better player?
Okay, better and greater are not the same.
That's not. But let's start there. That's a good starting point. Who's the better player?
I would say Kyrie's more skilled.
I think he's just flat out better.
I disagree.
I think Kyrie Irving is just a better basketball player. He's a champion.
We've seen Kyrie as a number one option. I disagree.
He's seen it. Okay. Kyrie's a champion. He's an all-star game MVP, right? Rookie of the year, all rookie team, two things Reggie Miller didn't accomplish, right? NBA champion, we know he didn't do that. How the hell Reggie Miller play 18 seasons and he's a four-time all-star. Meanwhile, Kyrie's still in the league and his 11th season and he's a 7-time all-star.
At the end of the day, you comparing a Batman to a Robin. It is not the same.
Man,
Kyrie is a number two. Me and you both know that.
Okay,
you both know
Kyrie is a number two in this era, though.
Batman.
In this era, okay, who's better, Reggie Miller or Klay Thompson? Prime Klay.
No. Stop.
No what?
Disrespectful.
We talking about guys that didn't make the top 75. Disrespectful.
The same thing you're doing with Kyrie. You're comparing a Batman to a
If
Robin.
you put Klay in the 90s, he'd be a Batman. He'd be doing the same shit Reggie doing.
If my aunt had a nutsack, she'd be my uncle. What that got to do with what actually happened? Like, what does that have? That hypothetical stuff be having y'all going crazy.
Listen.
What's that got to do with what actually occurred?
I just think Reggie Miller is a bit overrated. I mean, his averages indicate that he doesn't have all-time great numbers. He played a whole heap of a long time, and he was in the era He played in the era where they created the first 50 players, all-time greats, 50s. He didn't make that list. I think that's for a reason.
I think he should have.
Of course you do, because you like Reggie. But the guys that voted on that shit, they said, nah, you're not good enough to make it. And he played in that era. He had to wait.
Players on that list that shouldn't have been on there. Don't act like they got it perfect.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying they got it perfect, but I'm saying them leaving Reggie out, they got that part right, because I don't think he deserves to be mentioned. And standing next to Dr. J, standing next to Magic Johnson, standing next to Shaquille O'Neal, standing next to Michael Jordan, standing next to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and standing next to Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and Isaiah Thomas. Hell, Reggie Miller. Reggie
didn't deserve that either.
Reggie?
Yes, Reggie.
Hell no. Get his ass.
No.
Look, this is how you know. Reggie Miller found out from the TNT crew that he had made the top 75. He was surprised. I did? I didn't think I was good enough for that.
That's because he knows the media disrespects his game. He was surprised they voted him on.
Because he's not that guy.
It wasn't because he didn't deserve it. It's because he knows if they didn't put me on the top 50, they probably not going to put me on this next 25.
Then what you going to do?
I'm surprised because he know they've been disrespecting his game.
Bro, Reggie, look.
And here's the last thing I want to say on Reggie Miller, okay? The last thing I want to say. Every once in a while, the stats, if you follow the stats, you'll get it right 90% of the time. Like, if you follow the stats, you'll get it right. But Reggie's a part of that 10%. You're going to get a few wrong. If you're just looking at numbers, you're going to miss a few guys in NBA history. They're going to fly under the radar.
As they should.
Appreciate them. They're not going to be you're not going to think they're as good as they actually
as you should.
Because they're okay, but Reggie's one of those guys.
How many times
underrated? His numbers don't do him
Jeremiah, you want to go off the anomaly. You want to take the 5% and try to make it the 95%. We can't do that.
No, I don't.
90?
I'm saying Reggie is the reason there's a 5%.
Well, there's a reason he's in that 5% too, because 95% of the history shows, if I look at the players' totals and I look at the players' numbers, that's going to pretty much tell me who he is.
Exactly.
If I look at Mike's totals, 32,000 points, 6,000 rebounds, 5,000 assists.
You're going to get it right. Right. You're going to get it right 95% of the time.
Reggie's
and this is one of the 5% you're going to get it wrong.
Hell
it's
no.
Right here. This is one of the 5% you're going to get it wrong.
I completely disagree, but hey, we gonna leave that right there. You got Reggie Miller as a top 5 shooting guard of all time. What's understood need to be explained. I think you made a compelling case. I'm not mad at the stats that you brought up, but I just feel like in my position, I got to go against that because I think Reggie Miller might be one of the most overrated players in NBA history, to be honest with you. That's just me. But before we get on out of here, let's talk about what you want to talk about. You want to talk about the all-time top 10 list, or you want to talk about the top 10 going into next year? Let's choose one. Which one? What you want to do?
I think your top 10 on time is a little juicier.
Okay, let's talk about it. So for those that don't know, my top 10 NBA players of all time is Jordan at 1. I got LeBron at 2. At 3, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. At 4, I have Shaq. At 5, I got Kobe. At 6, I have Magic. 7, I have Bird. 8, I have Curry. 9, I have Hakeem. And 10, I have Duncan. What's egregious about that? I need to know.
Duncan is way too low. And so let me give you my top 10. I'll go from 10 to 1. Number 10, I got Larry Bird. Number 9, I got Steph Curry. Number 8, I got Magic. Number 7, I got Kobe. Number 6, I got Hakeem. Number 5, I got Duncan. Number 4, I got Shaq. Number 3, I got Kareem. Number 2, I got LeBron. Number 1, I got Mike. Our top 4 is the same.
Right.
But 5 through 10
is off.
Duncan at 10, I can't. We can't. Five-time champion. 2-time finals MVP, 3-time regular season MVP.
Name me an NBA player.
Never had a losing season.
All of that shit you just named are all team awards. What has he accomplished on an individual basis?
Are you forget about his All NBAs?
Oh, okay.
All defensive teams.
Okay. We could create a story to attest to that. The All NBAs, the defensive teams. Well, they put him in as forward, right? He's not a center. Because if he was a center, he probably wouldn't have as many as he got. How many of those? You know how many of those ballots where he's listed as a 4? Because the All-NBA and the All-Defensive team works guard, forward,
That's why
center.
he is actually the reason they changed the rules. If people don't know that, is because of the Tim Duncan could win it as a forward, and a 5.
Yes,
and people were getting. He's the reason they changed the voting
Duncan
to make it like
Tim Duncan,
bigs, wings, points.
Tim Duncan was on that first team ballot a lot of times with Kevin Garnett. Imagine if both of those guys, you could only choose one of them, right? Imagine if
he wasn't on the first team because Garnett was winning second team while, in the early 2000s when Duncan was really playing the 4 next to David.
He was winning first team too, Garnett. Garnett was winning first team.
A couple of those years.
In the 2000s, in the early 2000s, Garnett, when Tim Duncan was racking them up, Garnett was first team. Garnett was first team like his second year in the league. Garnett got like 15 of them. He got a lot.
Yes, and like I agree with you. You're right. But Duncan took some first teams from Garnett.
They was on the ballot at the same time. First team.
No, not every year.
Every year.
Garnett has a couple second teams that.
True.
If Duncan had been a center like he was supposed to be, he
probably would have been first team.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean that's a slight on not only the system, but how it's been manipulated by calling him a power forward as well. You able to put him and Garnett, who were arguably the two best defenders at that time at that position, on the same ballot. That's just not fair to me. You know what I mean? And not only that, to me, I think Tim Duncan's impact on the game was big, but I think his success that came because of that was more so of what was around him. You can't name me another player in NBA history who got outplayed in the NBA Finals by a non-top 75 player in their prime. What are we saying about Jordan?
LeBron did. LeBron got outplayed by Jason Terry in 2011.
I'm talking about on the same team and was the reason you won. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
There's a difference between being there's a difference. Yes, there's a difference between having help and being the help. You understand? There's a difference between that. And we could point to some times where Tim Duncan was the help. That's all I'm saying. We could point to a lot of times Tim Duncan was able to fall back, take a step back for an entire decade of his career and be very, 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 very pedestrian, but still win 50-plus games. What planet are we on where Kobe can average 18 points and 10 assists and be a champion? There's no planet on Earth where LeBron can average 18 points and still win. There is not a planet on Earth where Mike can come out here and give you 18 a night and we booking 56 games. Tim Duncan is the only superstar in league history where that applies to. So that's success. Come on, talk to me about what's around him. Come on.
Let's talk about Tim Duncan defensively. I think he's a top 5 defender ever.
When you lose debates,
that's where
they move to debates. When you lose debates, you start to move to defense.
What do you mean?
So
I'm not losing nothing.
Okay, we both agree. Let's talk about what we disagree on.
Okay, what do we disagree?
We agree that Tim Duncan is one of the greatest defenders ever, especially at his position, right?
Correct.
But we disagree on his impact as an individual for his team. You think he should be ranked higher because of his accolades. I think there's a story to tell for that. Because I think it has more to Jordan, 6-0, 6 finals MVPs, he's the dude. Without Jordan, there is no Bulls. I think if you take Duncan off the Spurs, they're still a playoff team. I honestly, wholeheartedly believe that. We can't say that about a lot of other superstars. It depends
on what year you do that. It depends on what year you do it.
And also, Tim Duncan had a probably 11-year prime. Nothing wrong with that. But for you to play 20 years and your prime be from 97 to 2007 or 2008, like you played 20 years. How do you come out here and let Tony Parker in 2007 against the woeful Cavs average 25, 5, and 5, and you average 18 and 11, 18 and 10? Those are Pau Gasol to Kobe Bryant numbers. You were the help. You weren't the guy that needed help. You were the help.
You think he was the best player on that team?
Yes.
You think he was better than Tim Duncan?
No. Tim Duncan was the best player on that team.
You think he played better than Tim Duncan in that final?
Yes.
This is an example of you.
He got the Finals
what
MVP.
The voters do, which is ignoring defense again. Here we go.
Defense. There was the woeful Cavs. Yeah. Who they guarding? If you ain't checking LeBron, you ain't checking nobody.
Hey, what did LeBron average that year in that series?
22, 7, and 5. He played terrible.
Woeful.
Yeah, he played terrible.
And a lot of that was because he shot so terrible at the rim. Now, why do you think that might have been?
Oh, we going. There go the defense again, huh? Why you couldn't kill your matchup? Why you couldn't kill your matchup? Why you couldn't kill your on what planet? Kobe was giving you 27 a night in the playoffs.
That's because he had to.
No, but Shaq is giving you 29. He didn't have to with Shaq. Shaq carried in 2000.
Yes, Shaq carried.
It's called not going. It's called being a superstar.
Duncan had a couple carry championships too. Don't act like all of them were. In 2003, that might be one of the heaviest rings in NBA history.
And the one before that. Those are the two. I'm booking him. The one before that, the 2003, and his first one in 99. He was a dog. But after that.
What about the one in 05, 07?
Okay, 05 was cool. 07? No, that was Tony Parker's ring. 2014? No, that was Kawhi's ring. What are we talking about? Kawhi led that team in scoring and damn near rebounding. And he's considered arguably one of the worst finals MVPs of all time. Arguably probably the second worst, that Kawhi Leonard MVP. How did you let Kawhi Leonard? How are you not like, that's just a prime example. They didn't need Tim Duncan to be Shaq. They didn't need Tim Duncan to be what Hakeem had to be for Houston. They didn't need Tim Duncan to be what Larry had to be for the Boston Celtics or what Magic had to be for
career, but for a good portion of it, they did.
They didn't
need 7-8 year stretch. They needed that.
That's it. But he played 20 years. What about the other 12 years where he was still winning 50-plus games?
How many year primes do you think these players have?
Yes, but he's still winning 55 games, but averaging 17 and 7. Like top 5?
Like top 5.
Who's peak? So you got Tim Duncan at 5.
Yes.
Kobe behind him. Who's the better player? Yes, Duncan or Kobe? Player.
I think Kobe's better.
Who had the better peak? When this guy was the man, this guy was the man. Who was better? Please don't make this mistake.
No.
Don't make this mistake.
Listen to me
Kobe at his best.
Carefully. I don't want to miss my words. If you compare 3-year peak to 3-year peak, I'll take Kobe. Take Kobe from 08 to 10 over any 3-year stretch Duncan had. We're talking about which one a better year of their career. I'll take 03 Duncan over any year in Kobe's entire career. I think he was better that year. And Kobe was, take 06 Kobe, 08, 09, 2010, 2003 Kobe, if you like the young one.
You also got him over Shaq.
No, I have Shaq at 4, Duncan at 5.
Okay. And you got him over
Shaq was that guy. There's no Shaq disrespect is not tolerated.
Not tolerated. You got him over Larry Bird.
I do have him
whose career 25, 10, and 6 on damn near 50, 40, 90 splits. Larry Bird led his team to three championships, winning 2 Finals MVPs, 3 consecutive NBA MVP, 3 times consecutive. Like, yeah, he had help, but if Larry wasn't that dude, they wasn't winning. You can't say that about Timmy, and I think that's the biggest discrepancy I have on him. What he's accomplished, you can't fight it. It's there. It's in plain sight. What he's accomplished, you can't fight it. But when I look deeper into things and I say every time that 9 guys I got ahead of him stepped on the court, they had to be that guy or they didn't win. I think
he had a stretch in his career where that was true.
It was short. It was very short. It was from 2000. It was from 99 to 05. It was short.
Okay, that's 6 seasons.
That's short. Kobe had a 14-year prime.
Which 14 years is Kobe's prime?
Let's pull it up. I'll pull it up right now
Which
before
14
we get
years?
off. Before we get out of here. You better drop that boy Tim Duncan about your top 5. Don't be disrespectful to these guys that had to be those guys. Right? Let's say Kobe from 2000.
You think in the year 2000 Kobe was in his prime?
Well, 2000-2001 season, Kobe averaged 28, 5, and 5 on great efficiency. So 1, 2, 3,
yes.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years. 13-year prime right here. Kobe averaged 28, 6, and 5 on 84% from the free throw line, 33% from 3, and 45% from the field. That's 13 years of Kobe.
Yeah.
Duncan's prime was 6 years tops. And you would think after a 6
in 2006, 2007, 2008, he won the Finals MVP. Tony won the Finals MVP in 2007. So now all of a sudden Duncan wasn't good that year.
No,
he wasn't in his prime.
That was my whole point. Yes, he was in his prime, but I'm saying of dominance. Kobe dominated all of those years. Duncan dominated. Really? Duncan's dominance was probably like 5 to 6 year stretch. After that, he was good, but he wasn't dominant. Because if he was dominant, Tony Parker would not have won that Finals MVP. But just because of that, he was still in his prime. Duncan was in his prime in 2007, which is why I say he's the only player in league history that got outplayed on the biggest stage by a non-top 75 player. Only player in league history, bro. That's unacceptable. I'm sorry.
Tony shouldn't have won that Finals MVP.
Why? He averaged 25.
Duncan was better that series.
Duncan averaged 18 and 10. Better. Tony Parker averaged 25, 5, and 5. Couldn't nobody guard him.
Hey, don't forget those blocks. You missing a big number there.
2 blocks.
Missing a number there. And let's talk about the other side of the ball. Who was overall more impactful to the win?
Tony Parker.
Who was overall more impactful to the win?
Tony Parker.
Come on now. Tony couldn't guard a cone. Come on now.
Tony was putting that ball in the hole. That's what's most important.
And getting it put in on him on the other end. And giving up half those points.
I just can't sit here. I can't sit here and say Tim Duncan should be like you got him top 5. Like that's egregious to me. Top 5 for a guy that didn't. I think
you think him and Kobe is close? Do you even think it's close?
I have Kobe at 5. I have Duncan at 10. So if that's close,
you don't even think it's close.
At the end of the day, he can sit at that table because as the 10 greatest players out of the 3,000 that's played this game, that's a remarkable feat to even be in that conversation. And you can't ignore the accolades, but I just can't roll with a guy that didn't have to be a dog night in, night out. That means something to me. That's valuable. If Kobe is giving you 18 a night, the Lakers suck. There's no winning for them. Shaq had to be 25, 27 a night. Hakeem had to be 26 a night. Bird had to be 26 a night.
I see a place where we can come to agreement to end the show here. I see a place, okay? So take that argument that you just made and let's apply that to the Reggie Miller conversation. Had to be that dude night in, night out. And when he didn't play well, they weren't winning shit. They weren't contending. They weren't even Eastern Conference Finals. He went to 5 of those. Went to an NBA Final just like AI. A lot of people love AI. Give him love. Where's Reggie's love? For the same reason. I'll take your Duncan argument. Take my Reggie argument.
Okay. We'll handshake on that. We got a deal. I mean, you feel like he should wave the flags for him then. If you feel like he should be mentioned more, wave the flags for him. He went to that final. The run was a little bit overrated in the first round. They saw Milwaukee. Ray Allen by himself. I mean, then they saw who? Philly? AI by himself again? Then they saw who?
Okay.
I mean,
2001, AI gets credit for taking game 1. Took 1 game off of the Lakers.
Yeah.
Year before, Shaq was better, and Reggie took 2 games.
I
just don't get why he doesn't get his respect.
Simply because that team in 2000, Shaq was better, yeah, but the team wasn't better. Kobe was that dude the following year. That Lakers team is arguably the greatest playoff team of all time. They went 16-1. That 2000
Yes,
squad
100%.
didn't go 6. They swept everybody. That's why AI gets that credit, because he's the one guy that got a game off that perfect record.
But let's go to that 2000 series, okay? The Pacers won Game 3 when Reggie had 26 in the game, scored 14 in the fourth quarter. They won Game 5 when Reggie was the leading scorer of the game, had 36. We're talking about that game where Shaq fouled out. Let's go back to Game 4. Shaq fouls out, Kobe takes over. Right? That's to me Reggie's argument right there. He didn't have a Kobe to take over. When he didn't have it, the Pacers weren't winning. Let's say the Pacers win that game. We're talking about a 7-game series.
The Pacers won winning. The Pacers had a stretch where they was winning games for like 3 years, and that was it. This man played 18 seasons. They wasn't winning shit.
It wasn't just 3 years. It wasn't just they were 5 Eastern Conference Finals.
Majority of those.
That wasn't just 3 years.
Majority of those playoff appearances that you talking about, Reggie was a dog in. That's fine. Majority of those seasons where he was leading his team and they was top 5 in offensive ranking or whatever the case may be, they was getting swept in the first round. Point blank.
No.
They was getting swept. Go look.
5 Eastern Conference Finals. From the 94-95 season until the year he retired, 2004-2005.
I'm talking about I was talking about before that. From the year he got drafted to about the
got drafted in 87.
Yeah.
He became a star in 90. The 89-90 season, that was the year he broke out. He averaged 25. Yeah. And then starting in 94-95, which was just 4 years later, until he retired. In that 10-year stretch, 5 Eastern Conference Finals, 1 NBA Finals appearance, lost to the greatest single season any NBA player has ever had, Shaq in 2000. That's what kept Reggie Miller from a chip. He would have 2 if he had not ran into the greatest player to ever touch a basketball. 98.
Hey, we could agree to disagree. I think I didn't have any expectations for Reggie Miller anyway in the 90s, so I'm not going to say he should have won more because I didn't have any expectations for him. I just think he's Clay. I think he's Ray Allen with the Heat.
Clay, no.
I just think he's a spot up. I think he's a spot up shooter, and he's a guy that's just coming off pin downs. He's a good player, but is he an all-time great player? No, I don't think so.
100%.
I don't think so. But yeah, we're going to get on up out of here, man. It was a great show. Smart B-ball takes, man. Go follow this man on every single social media platform. I appreciate every single one of you guys for joining. Mike Beasley, shout out to Mike Beasley on the late join. I appreciate everybody joining. Dubs in the chat if you enjoyed yourself. Hit that link, man. Hit that link. Get in my chalkboard, and let's talk some basketball. Let's talk some football. Let's make some bets. Let's make some money, man. But I'm going to holler at y'all, man. I appreciate everybody that joins, as always, man. OG out. What's up, y'all? OG the Beast here, and I appreciate you tapping into the Sports Behavior Podcast. If you made it this far, I greatly appreciate you. But if you want to stay connected with me, go ahead and drop me a follow on each and every one of these socials. That's how you stay locked in, man. I appreciate y'all stopping in. We talk football. We talk basketball here. And once again, you are greatly appreciated for stopping by. OG out.